Hi, I am Amelia Bridges, and this is my Module 8 case study for EDL 853. Get this kid out of my classroom. All right, so to summarize the case here, takes place at Schuyler K through 12 Comprehensive School. It is a part of the Fulton School District in a very rural setting that covers about 800 miles. It is one of 16 schools within a district, and each school shares a superintendent and other resources such as nurses, school counselors, and social workers in order to stay on budget. The superintendent visits each school about once a week, and within each school is a designated teacher who not only teaches full-time, but serves as the superintendent as needed when the superintendent is not present. Carl Hughes is a sizable third grader who is on an IEP for behavior. He has in the past been self-abusive, but recently has become outwardly violent towards his classroom teacher ever since his parents' ugly divorce. The special education teacher is in her first year of teaching right out of college. Her name is Susan Green. She has replaced a longtime teacher and is struggling to adjust to having limited resources in a rural, small setting. She ultimately wants what's best for Carl and would really like to see him remain in the general education classroom and sees that he does not struggle intellectually. Nancy Taylor is Carl's classroom third grade teacher. She is in her 10th year of teaching, and she is seen as a respectable teacher within the building. She, however, has recently felt threatened by Carl and wants him out of her classroom and dealt with as things had been dealt with in the past with the old special education teacher. Category 1. What do you know? I know that resources are limited within the district. They are few and far between. I also know that Carl is on an IEP for being self-abusive in the past, but now he's recently become violent with others, and the IEP might be needing some enhancement. Carl does fine intellectually, though, and his classroom teacher has recently felt threatened by him. Carl's parents have recently gotten divorced, and it has been messy. It is a split custody, but mom is the primary caretaker. However, she's working 50 hours a week and is not home very often. Carl has two older siblings in the middle school, and they are presently receiving some emotional support since the divorce. Miss Susan Green is the special education teacher, and she is just out of school, and she is really working to keep Carl in the regular education classroom. She is struggling to adjust, and she does things differently than some of the teachers do and have done, and ultimately she's doing a better job, but all around teachers are struggling to adjust to the newness that she offers. What do I need to know? First, I need to know who the head teacher is at Schuyler and what do they know about Carl? What relationship do they have with him? I need to know which teachers have had Carl in the building and if any of them especially have a good relationship with him, and specifically if there is a male teacher in the building who has had a good relationship with him and can serve as a mentor for him. I need to know what Carl is doing after school. Does he have friends? How is he behaving? What is he involved in? Furthermore, I would like to know what the intervention plan looks like within the district. I also need to know what is going on in Miss Taylor's classroom and understand the specific dynamics of what is happening. I need to understand why she so badly wants Carl out of her classroom and how he's actually acting and how she's dealing with his actions. I also need to know if Carl has been violent towards any other students and if he's received any emotional care outside of school. Finally, I need to know what exactly the behavior policy looks like within the district. Category 2, my plan of action. First, I'm going to set up a mentor program specifically for Carl, but then ultimately for all students. It will be that so Carl can have a positive relationship with an adult male in the building. He can meet with them regularly. It can be consistent, and he can get to know them in a non-academic way. I will personally also be meeting with Carl I would like to work with him and discuss his behavior and set up a plan with him. I want him to take ownership and responsibility for his actions, and I think by doing this, he can be held more accountable for his behavior. Next, I will meet with all the teachers to make sure that they understand the behavior policy and the plan and reinforce that sending kids out of the classroom should not be their first option, nor is it often the best option. Therefore, we will practice when issues should be dealt with within class and at what point do you send them out of the classroom and when is that the best option. I will also be spending time in Mrs. Taylor's classroom. I will observe her and I would like to be more present in her classrooms and other classrooms. I would like to meet with her and hear her concerns and be sure that she understands what the expectations are with behavior and how to deal with that, and why I think it's important that Carl stay in the classroom. I will also definitely be supporting Mrs. Green as much as possible. Just because she is young and fresh does not mean that she is not doing a good job. She might be doing better than veteran teachers, and I want her to know that I support how she is handling situations and I want to work with her. Then I would also like to provide resources for teachers. I would like for the district to prioritize teachers' access to better dealing with behaviors in a classroom. I would like to do some professional development, making sure that teachers understand the policy and how to enforce it. Finally, I would like for Carl to have more emotional support. Therefore, I would turn him to communicate with a school counselor in order to ensure that Carl is getting the needs that he needs. Category 3, resolving issues based on promoting the success of all students. First off, the behavior policy is going to be looked at and adjusted if need be. I want it to be clarified for all teachers and students. Students will know then what the expectation is, and it will be consistent in each classroom for all students. Teachers will understand the expectation and how they are to best execute the plan at all times for all students. Teachers will be well informed of the expectation. Next, I will do this with inclusion. Students benefit by having students with IEPs in the general education classroom. And then students on the IEPs also benefit by being in there. All students in that classroom can learn some soft skills, such as speaking and listening and teamwork. And those are very valuable for each student. All students will also see their teacher teach and manage all students in a correct manner. They need to see a good example. They need to see teachers manage these things. Because ultimately adult behavior in a situation is more important than student behavior, and it's important that students see that. Also, this mentor program is going to be an opportunity for all students to have a positive relationship with an adult, to have a role model, and to build a relationship on a more personal level with somebody in the building in a non-academic setting. Category 4. So to debrief my feelings and a reflection on this, I can't help, my first thoughts go to the fact that Schuyler and Fulton as a school district need some serious reform. They have a lack of resources, and it is clearly affecting the good of the students and their educational and emotional needs. I can't help but think on a bigger scale of the things that the district needs beyond the behavioral issues of Carl. Next, I can't help but feel empathetic and worried for Carl. He is really young and he's experienced a lot and he's very impressionable. I worry about what his home life is like and what is going on beyond the school walls and how some of those things are out of my control and the teacher's control. Finally, I can't help but value Mrs. Green. I'm very thankful for her. Even though she is young, she's working very hard and she's doing a good job. It's not easy to throw a wrench in bad practices, but she's doing that, and ultimately I want to recognize that that is really good, and I want to get other teachers on the same page and ultimately change the old school mentality of our teachers and move in the forward direction. Category 5, evidence as an educational leader, academic success, and personal well-being of every student is promoted. Component 1, academic success. I am ensuring academic success of all students by providing PD opportunities for teachers. This will help them deal with behaviors and ultimately better the management of their classroom and students, thus ensuring more academic success for all students. Next, because I am renewing the behavior policy, I am promoting the academic success of students because students will be held to a certain behavioral expectation, and as a result, all expectations will heighten. Therefore, students will be spending more time learning and less time dealing with unclear behavioral expectations. Finally, and most importantly, I am recognizing good teaching practices. Teachers like Mrs. Green need to be supported, and my expectations for teachers is changed. The old school thinking will just have to leave the teachers' minds. Just because something has been done a certain way for a long time doesn't mean that that's necessarily the best way to do things. And because I'm promoting and expecting and recognizing good teaching practices, I am ensuring students' academic success. Category 5, Component 2, the personal well-being of every student. I'm ensuring that by having this mentor program. Each student is going to have that positive relationship, and it's going to ensure that they are their well-being as an individual is being taken care of. Finally, having a school counselor who is more involved, making that a priority, that is going to help the personal well-being of every student. Their emotional needs will be supported. There will be more of a presence with the school counselor, and they will specialize in helping students with certain needs. And then the behavior policy. The higher expectations will make students more accountable, and it'll make them more responsible, and that ultimately positively affects and promotes the well-being of each and every student. And the third component, category 5, the enhancement of instructional capacity. First, I will do this with inclusion. Teachers must learn to better modify and accommodate for students on an IEP in a general education classroom. Next, I will work more closely with my teachers. By meeting with Mrs. Green and Mrs. Taylor, I can better explain the expectations and understand their views, and just build better relationships with them and be more present. And finally, by having observations, by observing the students, by observing the teachers, I will enhance instructional capacity because I am ensuring the enhancement of the instructional capacity by recognizing when it is and isn't present, and helping a teacher come up with strategies to ensure that the enhancement of instructional capacity is being met, and recognizing when it is there and helping them implement how to make it more present and how to raise the ceiling on their capacity. That is Module 8, my case study. Thank you.